Hey, I debated on whether to do a video on making sugar water or not because it's as simplistic as making a bowl of cereal. But there are some things to bear in mind. You want to use pure cane sugar. Other types of sugar, sorghum or molasses, can cause dysentery. So keep it pure cane, and you can make it a pitcher at a time or a quart jar at a time. The ratio of sugar to water is going to vary depending on the time of year. And in early spring, you're going to use half sugar, half water. Late summer, early fall, you're going to use 2-to-1 ratio, which is 2 sugar, 1 water. And I'm making it a pitcher at a time this time of year because the rain has been really heavy and the bees have eaten through their honey stores. So a quart jar, depending on the size of your hive and the time of year, can last a week or a day. And right now mine are lasting a day. So in making it a pitcher at a time, this will suffice for, 3 days. I'm going to start by pouring the sugar into the pitcher, and I'm going to do it over the sink because I don't want sugar granules all over my floor or my counters. So if you have measuring on your pitcher, that's really helpful. Otherwise, you can just pour it into a quart jar, dump it into the pitcher. Do that a couple of times. But this actually has a measuring system on it, so I can tell that I have 2 quarts in the pitcher. So it's right at the 2 quart mark. And then I'm going to put 1 quart of water in there. If you're making it a jar at a time, I'd go ahead and put your sugar in your jar, and then when the water's hot, take it off the stove, pour the sugar into the pan, mix it up, and then when it cools a little bit, pour it back into the jar. Pouring really hot water into a cool jar can cause it to shatter, so just want to let it cool down just a little bit. Don't actually boil your sugar. It can caramelize and it's hard on the bees' digestion. So once that water's heated up, I'll put it in the pitcher, mix it up, and then pour it into each jar each day. In the spring and summer, I use Honey Bee Healthy, which I'll just pour directly into the pitcher or the jar. Honey Bee Healthy is supposed to increase the possibility of robbing in the fall though, so I just skip it entirely. Sugar water also can mold, so if you're making it a pitcher at a time and you want to save it, you might need to freeze it. Or you just part with that, throw it away when they stop taking it, and start new in the spring. Your water doesn't have to be at a roaring boil. You just want it hot enough to dissolve the sugar crystals. And like I said, I wouldn't pour this directly into the jar. I would dissolve my sugar in the pan. But this is too much sugar to pour in the pan. I would have an overflow. And of course you're going to lose some water through evaporation. And as that happens, once you get it thoroughly mixed, you can just add water straight from the sink to compensate for the loss. But you want to get the sugar as dissolved as possible before you add any kind of cool water. Otherwise it's not going to further dissolve. Your other option, of course, is to add extra to the pan when you boil it. So feeding is absolutely necessary when you establish a new hive, when you have a weak hive that needs a boost, or when you go through periods of severe rain and the bees can't forage for their food. They'll eat through their honey stores and will need some help reestablishing that. Now in the winter, if you have to supplementally feed, you're probably not going to use sugar water. You're going to have to make something a little bit more solid that you can put in the hive. And I don't know that I'll have to do that this year, but I may still have a tutorial on how to make some fondant. And once that's done, set it aside. You have a couple days worth of food, or in the spring, early summer, you'll have a couple weeks worth of food. The Honey Bee Healthy in the early summer helps to preserve your sugar water as well, so it lasts a little bit longer and is not as susceptible to molding. So yeah, it's that simple.